It depends. It is our single family edition here on September 23rd. As I shared with you, this month we're doing a breakdown of different segments, our styles of homes in the Calgary and in surrounding areas here. So today we're going to break down all of Calgary. We're going to look at the country residential, and we're also going to look at the surrounding towns and cities here. For those of you that don't know, that are still thinking that we're into districts, our quadrants, a couple of years ago, that has actually changed. So now anything north of Stoney is the North District, and then what used to be the Southwest here is now divided into the West and the South. Everything else is pretty similar. The city center is what they're calling it now, as opposed to the inner city. And then Airdrie, Chestermere, Cochrane, and OKotoks. So a lot of numbers to go through today. So I'm going to try and break this down. So what I did is I started with the Calgary and looked at, all the numbers for it. So, 584 sales, almost 5,000 listings in the city. The average sale price of being 604,000 and the sale price 584. But that's the average. I broke that down onto the medium price because there were a couple of really high sales this month. There's one that was over $5 million, a couple in the 2s and 3s. So 510,000 is sitting at the median price right now in the city. Days on market is 25, and the months of supply is 2.67. So what's important about this is we're not actually talking about the cumulative days on market. So these two are sort of correlate or related to one another in the sense that if you actually took the months of supply, the total months of supply, your sale to list price may actually be a lot lower. But when you hit that sweet spot, the days on market and the sale price, list price, your months of supply would probably be a little bit higher, and this sale to list price would be a little bit lower. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. The Calgary City Center. So this is one of the slower segments of the single family detached market here. 93 sales, 553 listings. I mean, it stands to reason, the price point is higher in the city center there. The average price point is 983,000 with a sale price of 905 on average. Your median price, if we took out those multi-million-dollar properties, is about $650,000. Your days on market is about just over double of what it is in Calgary as a whole. And your months of supply is, it's over double as well. So, and it would stand to reason that your sale to list price on this inverse proportion is 96.72. The South End, the rest of the quadrants are performing fairly well. The South End, 188 sales, 366 listings, 550 is the average list price, 33 days on market, so a little bit higher, but your months of supply is sitting lower at 1.95. So, the inventory levels are under 2 months. And this is still favoring a seller's market here, believe it or not. We have these conversations. Oh, I'm hearing it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market. Again, as I shared with you, it really does depend on what community or what quadrant or what style and price point that you're interested in. So we also look at the West Side. A couple of years ago, the West Side, it was floundering. It had peaked in 2014. A lot of overinflated values on the houses there. It stagnated for a while, but this year has been on fire. 99 sales to date since September 23rd. I was talking about today. 288 sales. The average price, 834, 817. It stands to reason that your days on market would be a little bit higher here because the average sale price is higher, so a little bit more affluent. The affordability index there is, would be lower. So these two make sense to me, and it also stands to reason that your months of supply is going to be a little bit higher. It's taking a little bit longer to sell these properties. Calgary Southeast, 124 listings to 190, 124 sales to 190 listings. Average price point, 538, within the range of the city average, 28 days on market. This is a nice number to look at as well. This still tells us that we're in a seller's market here in the southeast district of the city there. Calgary Northeast, 142 sales to 432 listings. So your months of supply is, it's about 3 times. Your months of supply is 3.04. It's higher than the city average. But if you're looking for affordability, 418,000 versus 510 for the city average there, well within the means of most people's budgets. So if you're looking for a detached house, but you're on a budget, this is probably, one of the quadrants or districts to pay attention to. Calgary North, as I mentioned, that's on the north side of Stony Trail there. So you've got 240, I did this wrong, it's 121 sales and 247 listings. So these two should be swapped around there. Your average price point, again, within the city average, 512 to 503 for your sale price. 34 days on market, just cresting over 2.4 months of supply. Getting out to your country residential communities at your Bearspaw and your Springbank, you've got, pretty close in the sales numbers, as well as in terms of the product that's available. Where it differs here is the average price point, 1.13 to 1.47. Your days on market, pretty close as well. And it would stand to reason that, these properties, much like the city center, higher price point, more exclusive estate style homes are going to take longer to sell. So, over double, and the months of supply, 8.16 and 6.6. And then that sort of stands to reason that, the cumulative days on market and the time it takes to sell properties, the emotion attached to it, as well as the positioning and location of your country residential, your sales to list price is going to be lower than your city average there. Going into your surrounding neighborhoods and towns, you've got Cochrane, Airdrie, OKotoks, and Chestermere. Your Airdrie, probably no surprise, it's been on fire this year. Affordability, you look at 485,000 under the average price point of Calgary and surrounding areas there. So affordability, it makes it really popular for one of the bedroom communities. And inventory levels, probably one of the lowest out of anything that we're looking at here at 1.43 months. So the inventory levels are definitely getting absorbed. It's still moving along. It's definitely a seller's market there. We can look at, Chestermere, it's at 4.35 months worth of inventory there. So, it's taking a little bit longer, to sell those properties, but it's definitely one of the higher price points of the surrounding communities or cities there at 580,000 with an average sale price of 571,000. What else can we talk about? OKotoks, it's funny because it's very similar in terms of numbers to Airdrie in terms of months of supply, but where we're seeing a difference there is your price point. You got 541,000 versus 485,000 there. So still a very productive surrounding area to be selling in right now, but the price point and the affordability is just going to be a little bit higher. Cochrane, 3 months of supply, so a little bit larger months of inventory than the Calgary average there. But it's still, we've seen that months of supply start to climb. So this is one of those ones where we're starting to see it move into a more balanced market. And then with Chestermere, again, this is a balanced market kind of moving into a buyer's market there. But all in all, nothing's really surprising me here. Our inventory levels are still fairly low, which is still creating a demand. We are starting to see people pull back a little bit, but that's just, I think it's reflective, also of traditional things, the time of the year, and people I think are still wanting to take advantage of interest rates right now. And the drawback is we've got people that want to sell but are having a tough time finding product on the open market. So that's limiting them from exposing their home to the MLS for others to buy. So that is kind of a big rundown here. I know this was a long video, but as I mentioned, we are dedicated to getting really specific. So just remember, if you are wanting to get a little bit more focused and you want to know specifically about a community or a street in your neighborhood, or if you've just got interest, by all means, reach out to us. And remember, we're not just Calgary realtors, we're Calgary born and raised. Enjoy the rest of September and the rest of the great fall weather that we're having. Cheers.